All right, on APBA Go for a 1978 game, Phillies and the Cardinals. Steve Carlton against Forsch, and Lou Brock is in the batter's box. Carlton's on the mound, and let's just play some APBA Go Master Game, 1978 season. And looks like Brock's going to get off to a good start with a walk, and obviously Brock is a fast runner. Bring up Gary Templeton against Carlton. And on a 43-29, that is a fielding two play for the pitcher, and Templeton is out. Carlton to Hebner, but Brock gets the second, one out. Bring up Jerry Morales. And on a 44-8, that's a base hit over second. Brock to third, first and third, one out. That'll bring up Simmons against the lefty. He's -2. So Carlton must have came in a 13, bumped up to a 15 against Simmons. First and third, one out, playing back in the first inning. And a walk on a 14. So bases are loaded with one out. Still going to play back. Bases loaded, one out for Keith Hernandez. Who hit 255, a little low for him. 11 homers, 64 ribbies in 78. Bases are loaded. One out. I'm going to pitch for the windup. Well, technically with Brock on, but with the bases loaded, you don't think they're going to steal, but I'm going to go from the stretch just in case. One out, bases loaded for Hernandez. I'm not sure. I think Carlton would probably pitch from the stretch there. I'm not sure. With Lou Brock on, he might have to. There's a 13-14, and it's going to be two balls. Luckily, Carlton with a Z prevents that from being a walk. Bases loaded now. Two balls on Hernandez. Could have been a walk right there. And now we get a 31, and it is another 14. And two balls again, and that is a walk, and it's 1-0 Cardinals. Bases remain loaded with one out for Reitz. And on a 15-8, that's a base hit. All runners move up. Run scores, and we got someone gunning for an extra base. The offense going for an extra base. Do you want to attempt to throw? 31 chances. No, not going to throw here. And they're going to take the lead here, 3-0. They scored two on that hit. And it's first and second with one out. 3 runs here in the first inning. And that'll bring up Tony Scott. And on a 45-14, that's two balls again. Carlton Z saves them a little bit there. And there's a 14-30, and that's just a fielding three play for the left fielder. He is out, and the runners are holding. First and second, two out. Mike Tyson. And on a 63-31, that's a fielding one play for the center fielder. And finally, Carlton's out of the inning, but he gives up three. A 3 spot for the Cardinals in the first. Phillies have a good offense, though, so there's a long way to go. Forsch on the mound is a righty. McBride against righties is a 0, so that means Forsch comes in as an 8 in this game, and McBride will lead it off for the Phillies. And there's just a 29, fielding one play for the pitcher, one out. Bring up Larry Boa. Boa on a 27 is out on a 5-3, grounded a third, two out. That'll bring up Schmidt. Schmidt, 21 homers and 78 ribbies, batted .251 in 78. And there's a walk, so on a 31-14. It doesn't look like Forsch has any strikeout or control letters. So runner on first, two out for the Bull, who hit 35 homers and had drove in 101 runs in 78. And this is going to be a pitcher change result. It was going to be a 9, but it's changed to a 30, and that's just going to be a flyout. So that takes a hit away right there. So it's 3-0 top of the second. Forsch actually leads it off now against Carlton. And that's a 29, and that is a grounder to Carlton. 1 out, 1-3, and here's Brock. Brock on a 45-14, and he walks. With the bases empty, you have to be a ZZ to prevent the walk, but on other charts, it's a Z, just the one Z will do. Here's a runner on first, 1 out for Templeton. And a 35-9 is a base hit, first and second with 1 out for Jerry Morales. Carlton in trouble again. And here's a 33-0 and then a 23-6, but the 6 becomes a 1 and it's a home run. Wow, Carlton. We could click on Carlton. Carlton has an L for a home run. And that turns that double into a homer, and it's 6-0 here in the top of the second. 1 out. Let's see if Carlton can get some outs and give him a few innings here. There's a 12, and that is a ground out for the second out. That'll bring up Hernandez. But a big hill for the Phillies to climb here. Here's a 15 and a 10, but it is changed to a 24, and that is a grounder to short. So it's 6-0 here, bottom of the second. 6 runs on 4 hits. Here's Hebner leading it off against Forsch. And on a 61, that's a 37. That was a rare play result. And it ended up being a fielding 2 play for the center fielder. And it's a single and advances to third on a Tony Scott error. So on the rare play boards, that ends up being a single and an error. Hebner on third. At least the Phillies have a chance to get a run here. Here's Gary Maddox. Now Maddox flies out to right. And Hebner's speed is only a 6. And the hit value is only a 38. I do like the hit values. Here a 38 hit value is fairly shallow, and we're not going to advance the runner. Runner on third, 1 out. And that'll bring up Tim McCarver. And on a 35-36, the run scores on a wild pitch. So we get it in on a wild pitch. It's 6-1 as they start to try and creep back into this game. McCarver batting still. And on a 21-32, that's just a fly to right. On the charts, I think a 30s are flies to left, 31s are flies to center, and 32s are flies to right, although there are lineouts if you're fielding 2. Here's Ted Simmons, but they all go to left, center, and right. Here's a 66-6 and a double for Sizemore. Ted Sizemore doubles. So Sizemore's on second with 2 out for Carlton. Now, Carlton could hit, so he hit 291. Steve Carlton could hit, so he's not an automatic out. And here's a 1-1, here's an 11-0 and a 62-6, and that is a double, and he drives in Sizemore. So it's 6-2. Here come the Phillies. Carlton, as I just said, could hit a little bit, and he doubles in a run. So now it's 6-2, 2 out, runner on second for Bake McBride. And here's a 25, and that's just going to be a line out to Tyson. But they do cut the lead down to 6-2, top of the third. Kenny Reitz will bat. And that's a 33, and there's a grounder. Well, it's actually a strikeout. He has a control Y, so that's a strikeout, 1 out. I think that's the control Y kicking in there. Now with Tony Scott up to 15, would be an 8, but it's changed to a 30. So there's Carlton taking a hit away, and that's just going to be a line out to Luzinski and left, 2 out. A little bit of a momentum change. Here's Tyson. And Tyson on a 42-32 is just going to fly out to Bake McBride. So we go bottom 3. Phillies trying to get themselves back into this game. It'll be Larry Boa here in the bottom of the third. That's a 23, and it's a fielding 1 play for the pitcher, and it's a grounder to Forsch, 1 out. Here's Schmidt. And Schmidt on a 35. Did they give me the result on this one? No, they did not. Schmidt on a 35. This is a rare play board, and it just ends up being a ball. So that was a rare play board result. And now we get a walk to Schmidt. Runner on first, 1 out for Luzinski. 1 swing, and this game could get interesting. Luzinski on a 41. No, that's a 28, and that's a fielder's choice. At least they don't get the double play. Luzinski's safe. They get Schmidt at second. 2 out for Hebner. And on a 21-26, that's just a fielding one play for the second baseman, and that is the end of the inning. So we go top 4. Forsch leading off against Carlton. And there's a 43, and that's just a grounder to Carlton, 1 out. Lou Brock. 26 there, and that's a grounder to second. Sizemore, 2 out. Here's Templeton. And on a 52-27, that is a grounder to Schmidt. So we go bottom 4, 6-2. At least Carlton's giving him some innings now. After giving up 3 in the first and 3 in the second. Maddox leads it off. And there's a 26, and that's a grounder to Tyson, 1 out. McCarver on a rare play board is a foul ball, 1 out, 1 strike. And now 34-31 is a fly to center. Liner to center. There's the fielding 2. You see, if you get a fielding 2 on those fly balls at 30, 31, and 32, I think they're line out. So there's a line out to center, 2 out. And here's Sizemore. And on a 28, that is just a grounder to Templeton. So we go to the 5th inning. Morales leads it off against Carlton. He's homered already. 34, that's a 31. And there's that fielding 1 play to center, which is a fly out, 1 out. Simmons on a 12-25 grounds to Sizemore, 2 out. Here's Hernandez. And Hernandez on a 31. It's a fielding 2 play, and there's that line out on the fielding 2 plays. So bottom of the 5th, Carlton's going to bat. It's 6-2, but he's going to bat. He's still Steve Carlton, and he can still hit. So 2-1, there's a 30, though, and there's a fielding 3 fly out, 1 out to the left. Bring up McBride. And McBride's going to walk on a 14, 13-14 there. Runner on first, 1 out for Boa. Not much we can do here down 4, but hope we can put some hits together. And he strikes out, 2 out on a 13. Here's Mike Schmidt. I haven't had too many of those 13s. Here's Schmidt. And Schmidt on a 46-13, and there it is again. Now the 13s are coming. So we go to the top of the 6th. Reitz will lead it off against Carlton. This game has gone quickly, despite the runs being scored. Here's a 7 and a base hit for Reitz. So he's on first with nobody out for Scott. And now Scott on a 54. That's a 32 and a fly to right. Runner will hold, 1 out. Bring up Tyson. And on a 56-34, that is a fielding 1 play for the shortstop, but the Y of Carlton kicks in, and that's a strikeout. So that's a runner on first, 2 out for Forsch. He should be batting. Computer doesn't pinch hit a lot anyway. I am going to probably have to start just playing solitaire because the computer's not that good, but what happened here? Lineup change. Swisher is going to hit for Forsch, so I'm surprised they're taking him out, but they are. And Swisher is going to bat here. There I would have let the pitcher continue. He's got a 6-2 lead, and here they pinch hit, so that's strange. And we get a 31 fly out, and that's that. Swisher flies out to Maddox. So we go bottom 6. It's 6-2. Cardinals lead the Phillies, and now Bruno comes in. Take a quick look at Bruno. He's a 13 as a reliever, a B, 13B as a reliever, up to 14 against Luzinski, righty, and Luzinski's a -1. And there's a 45-14, though. That's going to be a walk for Luzinski. Looks like Bruno just has a Y for strikeouts. Runner on first, nobody out. Righty pitcher, so Hebner stays in the bat here. And there's a 34, and he strikes out on the Y, I guess, because that normally would be to the shortstop. Runner on first, 1 out for Maddox. And on a 9, that's a base hit, an infield single. First and second, 1 out. Chance for McCarver against the righty to do something here for his buddy Steve Carlton. 64, though, is a 22. So let's go. We got a lot here. We got it was a fielding 1 play for the catcher. He singles to right. Luzinski out at home. Morales to Simmons. Maddox takes third. McCarver out trying for second. Oh boy, what a double play that was. Luzinski was thrown out at home down 6-2, and then McCarver was thrown out at second. So a Keystone Cops play right there by the Phillies, and two guys out on the bases, and we go to the seventh, 6-2. Carlton will face Brock. That'll be a fun press conference after the game. There's a 65-35 and a ground ball out, one out. Bring up Templeton. And we got a single over the infield on a 9 for Templeton. Runner on first, one out for Morales. Templeton can run. See if they do anything. 41 is a 24. That's a ground ball double play, 6-4-3. So we go to the bottom of the seventh inning stretch. Sizemore's going to bat. And on a 30, he flies to Brock, one out. Now I've got a pinch hit for Carlton. See what lefties I have. Not a lot. We have not a lot. Oh boy. Our lefty bench is weak. I guess we have one real choice, Deneen, who I don't even remember that well. But 250 with a 333 on base is good enough. He'll bat against Bruno. He's a +1 against righties. And two out here. This was the second out. 41 is a 24, and that is a grounded to short. They're very quick with the results. So that out went up before I even looked at it. I glanced at the board to see how many outs, and it said 2, and it was actually counting that second out. So they're very quick with boards and changes here. Here's Bake McBride, 2 out, nobody on. And he's out, and can't tell. Looks like it was a 33. So he's out. So now I need a pitcher. Middle of the order. Switch lefty righty. So we're down 6-2, but might as well try and keep this game close. We'll bring in Brewster. And we go to the top of the 8th inning, 6-2. It's Simmons leading it off. Brewster on the mound. And 24 is a grounded to short, one out. That was on a 24. Here is Keith Hernandez. Keith Hernandez on a 55, and that would have been an 8, but it's a pitcher change result. Brewster's up to a 20. Oh, and that was against Reitz. Again, they changed the number already. I don't know what he was against Hernandez, but there was a change from an 8 to a 31, and it was a fly out to center, 2 out. They've already changed his number to a 20 against Reitz because Reitz is -4 versus righty, so Brewster must be a 16 coming into the game. 2 out. And here is a 12-25, and then his Y kicks in for a strikeout. So he strikes him out. So we go bottom 8, and looks like Aurelio Lopez is coming in as a reliever. Well, he's only a 6 as a reliever. He's a C. He's going to be facing Larry Boa here. And Larry Boa is batting lefty against Lopez. Down 4 runs here in the bottom of the 8th. Boa batting, and there's a base hit on an 8. So Boa's on, and that'll bring up Schmidt. Schmidt will bat, runner on first, nobody out. And there is a 14-30, and that's just a fly out to Brock. And they give you this with a runner on first, but obviously I'm not going to try and tag up. And that will bring Luzinski to the plate. Luzinski against a righty is a -1, bringing Lopez up to a 7. Runner on first, 1 out. And there's a 32-26, and that is a ground ball double play. So we go to the 9th inning. It's 6-2 St. Louis. Brewster will stay in to face Tony Scott. And that's a 54-32 and a fly to right. Line to right because it was a fielding 2 play, so it's line to right. 1 out. Here's Tyson. And on a 56-34 ground, pop up to Boa at short. 2 out. And let's see if Lopez bats. And looks like he does, and he is going to strike out on probably the Y. So we go bottom 9, And now Littell comes. They do that to computers. He let Lopez bat, and then they bring in a new pitcher. But Littell is a 14. He's a B coming in here as a reliever. And he's going to be a 16 against Hebner, who's -2 versus righties. So Littell's coming in at 6-2. Phillies need a miracle. Richie Hebner will lead it off. And he strikes out, and that's not the good start to the miracle. Tim McCarver, Gary Maddox is up. Gary Maddox will bat. And a 2-6-27, and he strikes out on, looks like he has an K and an X for Littell. So 2 out, nobody on, and now McCarver, who will bat. He's a lefty against the righty. And McCarver on a 31-14 draws the walk, so he keeps it going. Now, we don't have any lefties, though. Sizemore hit 219, though, so let's just use our best righty because we don't have a good lefty left. And I don't want to use Harrelson, who was a switch hitter. So we got Boone, who hit 283, 347 on base. Do we have anyone better than that? Cruz, I mean, he probably didn't have any at-bats. Hit 500. Martin was a pretty good hitter, too. 271 with a 339. He's got more slugging. It's either Martin or Boone. I'll use Martin. Martin will come in to hit for Sizemore. So it's a runner on first, 2 out, and I have to go to a righty Martin because I don't have any good lefties on the bench. And there's a 31, and on the K or the X, he strikes out, and that is the ball game. St. Louis wins at 6-2. They did it all in the first 2 innings, including a 3-run Morales homer in the second. That was off of Carlton. It was actually a 6 that was changed to a 1 because Carlton had an L, and there are letters that either can turn a double into a homer or a homer into a double. So this was all St. Louis, 6-2, Forsch over Carlton, and that's the ball game. Thanks for watching.